Hey everyone, welcome to the Sharon the Red Baron show. My name is Sharon, and I coined that saying because my dad called me that when I was a child. So I thought it was suiting. And I want to welcome you, my special guest, Soleil, with her great awakening story. And let's give her a welcome. Hi. You are
Hello.
stunning, girlfriend.
Well, thank
She's
you.
actually going to be sharing her story in leaving the Mormon Church. Um, and I just wanted to explain to people and share with people. I started this channel because I realized there is a great awakening happening right in our faces across the world, whether you're having a political awakening, a spiritual awakening, you're starting to see, feel, sense things, signs and synchronicities, leaving the church and so forth. And it's not just Mormons. There's a lot of people that are leaving other religions as well. I think people are starting to see more that people should not be making money off of the big guy upstairs. Just going to leave it at that. So, welcome, Soleil.
Thank you.
How are you? You doing good?
I'm doing pretty well.
Awesome.
Life is
Awesome.
wonderful. It's free. It's beautiful.
I love it. I love it. This is going to be a good interview. I can totally tell. So listen, I always like to start I'd like to start off asking people, I think I already know the answer. Are you a believer in signs? Because that's on the rise as well.
I am a believer in signs.
I love it. Can I ask, can you share a quick little story on something that's happened to you where you're just like, I can't explain it, so I'm just going to take that.
Oh, wow. That is a good question. You're going to really help me dig for some good ones.
Good. I like
I
it.
have so many that, okay, so I work as an energy healer I'm not the healer. I just support and guide people to do their own healing.
Hmm.
The healing power is within us all.
Sure is.
And I've done this now for 18 years. And so recently, the clients that I've been working with, I witness miracles left and right. I,
Oh, I'm
I
sure you
could write
do.
an entire novel on miracles.
Wait a minute. I think maybe you might need to write that down. Something to add to your list in due time. So
I
yeah,
will. I
share
will.
something really specific. I would love to hear that. I love hearing.
Okay. So something specific that I'm leading into is I have a client that I've been working with. There are many clients I'm actually helping when they're ready to leave religion and that it's the time for them to leave and they're feeling it. I guide them through energy alignment work as well as belief transformation work so that they can go from limiting to liberating. And I have a particular client and his wife. When they started coming to see me, they were still involved in religion, but they felt a change and they were guided to me. Synchronicity, and he has now been seeing me for he and his wife for about 6 to 8 months.
Mhm.
And one of the synchronicities that has happened lately is he was in touch with a an extended family member through his wife's line. This gentleman has gone through a brain tumor. There are many things happening in our bodies lately because of the corruption in our environment due to the
Oh, and the Schumann resonance is off the charts. People need to look
yep,
that up, and it's not woohoo. I'm tired of
yep,
that label. That's going away soon. The
yep.
woohoo
So there's a
title.
lot of people dealing with health issues that they should not be dealing with.
Hmm.
And this gentleman uh, that I was connected with is from Idaho. He just had a brain tumor removed not too long ago and wanted to recover his health. And through the synchronicities of universal infinite love, he was brought to me. He just made his journey from Idaho to come see me
Wow.
to so that he can guide so I can guide him to higher consciousness to be able to heal his mind and his body and ascend into his higher purpose. And the miracle that I have witnessed when watch these people transform is they're able to go from a fear, anger, sadness consciousness. They're able to process that effectively and reach their next ascended level and walk in their higher path. And so this gentleman came to me from Idaho. He and his father drove. I will now be working with his entire family. So the movement is going from just one person at a time to group healing sessions and meditations.
It's very
So
real. It's very, very real. I love it.
that is the miracle that I've witnessed lately, is the opening up from just one person at a time to group healing sessions and meditations.
I love it. It's so important too. And don't get me wrong. I do believe that there are a lot of good counselors out there, but I've also, I mean, in more of a corporate environment, so to speak. But I also believe that there's a lot of brainwashing. It's like our way.
Yes.
And I'm right there with you. I tried counseling many times over the years, and honestly, you know, it's in our face everywhere, you know, our entertainment and everything, that the answers are in here, but people just don't know how to. So I would love to hear, what was the pivotal moment of your great awakening? Like, what happened to you in that aha moment? It was in
Wow,
the church, correct? The Mormon Church?
yes, I hear you on that. I've had multiple awakenings and rebirths in my life in order to understand how to flow the energy healing work that I do. I'm just going to be short and quick. I would say the first great awakening I had was in 2004. I was in a major car accident in 2000 and had suffered from migraine headaches for 4 years. The regular system that we've been pushed into mentally and emotionally was not helping me. I was stuck. I was ill. I couldn't mother my first daughter. I could take care of her basic needs, but as far as playing and having a good time, that wasn't in the cards at the time. I did a lot of resting and laying down. And so in 2004, I was, putting in prayer intention, something's got to change. I need something new, and asked for that. And then energy healing work came into my life through the modality of foot zone therapy and the practice of foot zonology. And I had that done for me, and I witnessed the most incredible sensation of wellness.
Is that like,
and alignment.
can I ask, is that like reflexology?
It's similar to it.
Okay,
From what I understand, so the signals are both accessed on the feet through the modalities of reflexology and foot zone therapy.
Oh, I've had that done before, and it works phenomenal. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was very skeptical, but I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow. And just, yeah.
Yes. And so I had experienced that for the first time after feeling lost and stuck and confused and suppressed and in pain. And I was so tired of it. I wanted to reclaim my life.
Too, that stinks, because
so
you just,
that's one of my awakenings. Is I read the book by Kevin Trudeau called Natural Cures They Don't Want You to Know About.
Isn't he in jail for that now? Because
I think so.
I mean,
but that was my awakening
people.
right there. Wow. And I heard my heart call so loud and clear. A flood of loving energy came through me and out into my heart. And that's when I took my path and began studying energy medicine healing. And I have been on that path now for 18 years and have taken many courses and advanced courses. And I've utilized it for myself and my family during many arduous experiences of, giving birth to 5 kids.
God bless you. Wow.
So there was a lot of things for me to learn through that as well. I've experienced so much opposition so that I can show up with compassion for people.
Yeah, that's good.
And
because we need a lot of that nowadays.
Oh, we do.
And sure.
I needed to integrate the wisdom. And so I've had many experiences on my timeline where I would say major events happened, close to death experiences in my life.
Wow.
And after I had my 5th baby, I experienced feeling like I was close to death for about a year. And I was able to, through energy healing medicine, through the gift of the divine, the universe, God, however you want to state that infinite intelligence, that's life
very
force
real.
love, it's all the same. So state it however you want. because everybody has a different spiritual language and it's all respected. It all means the same
Yeah,
thing. And
absolutely.
so I experienced that intelligence flowing through me as I worked the understanding and gained the wisdom, many meditations, many courses and advanced courses. And I was able to heal my body again through the divine healing energy and the awareness of how to work it within myself. So I
Oh,
understand the
it's,
how.
yep. It's
The-
very, very real. It's very real. I mean, years ago, I mean, things kept happening to me all the time. Things would happen around me in front of people, and they're like, "Hey, what just happened?" And I'm like, things. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, a lot of times, anyhow. So I completely understand about that. So, can
yes.
I ask? So you were part of the Mormon Church, correct? Is that part of your
Yes.
as well?
Born into the Mormon Church.
Please,
Uh,
I would love to hear more about this.
so I am going to be very loving and respectful to all that are listening. I
Mhm.
just want everybody to know that when I speak with respect and honor for everyone's experiences and that everyone is showing up the absolute best that they know how. I absolutely adore, respect, and love my parents. They're amazing people and they raised me at a very honorable capacity. My father is full of integrity, humility, and he truly is and does his best to follow and be a disciple of Jesus Christ. So does my mother. They both have taught me different attributes that are absolutely supportive for a full and successful life. My mother being the epitome of compassion and selflessness. So my parents taught me so well. I
That's
had
great.
many experiences in the church that were very confusing to me.
Such as, like, could you go
So
in a little depth?
yes, I would say the first time I felt unsure and confused and not fully into the willingness. And that was when everybody was telling me I needed to be baptized.
So, what age are you talking? Which range are
So,
you in right
age
now?
of 8 is
Yeah.
the age that they encourage baptism.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember into that event feeling like there was a lot of songs and talking and teachings from the leaders of the church and my parents and everybody around me because my family members were all religious at the time and many still are,
Mm-hmm.
and which is perfectly respectable. It's their personal
Yeah.
path and choice, right?
Yeah.
I just felt uncomfortable and did not feel like I needed to enter in that way with Jesus Christ if I could feel within myself that I want to follow that example. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't understand why I needed to do that. And it didn't feel like heartfully my choice.
Did it feel like that makes sense? I guess I have a question of asking. It was almost like, did you recognize at a young age that you felt something inside of you that just
That was
didn't,
off.
yeah, where it
It was
just,
off. It didn't feel like my choice. It felt like I was being infiltrated with a lot of other ideas outside of me, other humans, encouraging me to follow this path that they believed so firmly to be absolutely the only path.
mm-hmm,
And so my inner self is like, well, I want to follow Jesus. Like
mm-hmm.
my inner child is like, I want God with me. I want the spirit to be with me. I didn't know, having come into this new body, I call the body like the veil of forgetfulness because you come into it and you've got to work on remembering who you are in it.
I know exactly what you're talking
And
about.
so, yeah,
Mhm.
I couldn't connect with the fact, or not the fact, but the beliefs that were being taught to me was that you won't you are full of sin right now and you need to be cleansed. I'm like a little
And you're
8-year-old girl.
8-year-old girl. all. I was just about to
You
say
need to be
that.
cleansed of your sins so you can follow Jesus. And I thought,
But you're still innocent,
okay,
I
so maybe
believe.
as a child, I had thought back on how naughty I was, and it caused me to go to that consciousness of bad and naughty. And then
Hmm.
also it provoked fear of, well, then I can't make any human choices or mistakes because then my God will leave, the spirit will leave me.
Ah.
And so what's conflicting is that the spirit dwells within this vehicle, okay?
Oh, I agree. Yep.
We all have the spirit of infinite light and love of God, source, creator,
It's
however you want to put it,
yep.
in this body that runs this body. And this body is a physical form of matter. And then we have etheric energy,
Yep.
which
And
is
I
our
don't
spiritual energy.
and I don't think
So,
a lot of people understand that part really,
no,
even
because
in a
they've
lot of
not been taught.
religions. Well, it's also been taken out of a lot of the books in religion, and the Vatican actually admits to that, that there's over 300 books. Not that the Mormonism, but I'm just using it as an example.
But
They
there
took
was
out.
so much fear, right? So
Yeah.
much fear, guilt, and shame in my consciousness, which is the beginning of the order of creation, is what am I thinking about? What am I feeling? Because my thoughts are the beginning of creation and manifestation. My feelings about whatever I'm thinking about communicate with the atoms of the universe and start formulating, as I'm a co-creator with infinite love. Infinite love is within me and around me. And I'm
Yeah.
beginning to use these creative powers through guilt, shame, and fear.
That's a very good point. And you're so innocent at that age.
And I
Gosh.
was so afraid to make a mistake because I was told the spirit of God would leave me. That terrified me. I want my God with me
I've been
all
hearing
of the
that.
time.
Yep.
And it was conflicting because I'm like, well, if the spirit of God is within me and my spirit being is the infinite love and intelligence of God, I couldn't say those words as a child, right? But
Right. Yep.
if I am a child of God, then if that left me, what would that mean? Am I spiritually dead? Am I physically dead? And so
I love
from
the
that
questions
point
you were
on, I
asking.
could
And
not hardly make any decisions. It made me very indecisive. And it also stuck me to making choices within this little tiny, I could, it was okay if I made just mistakes in this little box here
that's
because
the second time I've heard the box.
I was stagnant. I wasn't having experiences for the sake of gaining wisdom, for the sake of understanding joy, love, and gratitude.
Mhm.
I couldn't understand it, nor could I make decisions outside of this box to understand it.
Yeah.
So I was stagnant for a long time. I made some mistakes. I went through incredible guilt and shame and fear. Like, especially when I grew into my teenage years, don't even get me started on the teachings of sexuality. Like,
I've been hearing, so I'm from New England and
sexuality,
Catholic. I've been hearing this a lot, that people in the religion just kind of
it
go off
is
and
it is so distorted. And so the way that it's taught, and the reason why, something I've learned from infinite intelligence, is that our sexual energy is creative power energy. Not only do we create humans, as long as it's utilized with honor and sacredness and respect.
Mhm.
And we've been so distorted and perverted about this that it's not, in my belief, it's not being used appropriately. But it, not only do we utilize it to create and bring humans to this planet,
That's a
but
very good, yes, that
we also utilize it to that heightened energy to cleanse and heal the body, because that orgasmic sensation cleanses and heals the body and brings energy up through the crown so that you can then connect with infinite divine and put that beautiful energy toward creating wonderful experiences in your life. And it bonds you incredibly intimately, deeply well with your partner, your husband, your wife. And so those things are imperative to understand. So the sexual awakening, the appropriate sexual energy and use of it helps us to create and bond very intimately and closely with our loved one. And and so it actually helps us stay awake because it keeps energy flowing up the center
I
line.
like how you position this, because that's actually the first time I've heard it like this. And so can I ask you a quick question on um what is the relationship that they encourage between a husband and a wife? Are they not supposed to be sleeping together a lot, or
They do encourage it, but only
to procreate?
you shall not explore any of it before marriage. And it's basically not really talked about. It's kind of swept under the rug. No, don't do that. That is evil, bad, and wrong if you do it before you're married. And there's no talking or teaching about how to be sexual, what is the power actually, how to respect it and use it with honor and understanding. It's a powerful gift and it needs to be understood, and it's not understood.
And they don't, and my point
And so
is
they just say
really
no.
talk,
No,
that's
don't
it.
do it.
But even though when we're children, I remember when I was developing and all that, none of us talked about it. I got this little flower book that was supposed to symbolize my body parts, and it was very confusing where things are growing and all of that, and these feelings. And I just, granted, in the school systems they cover that, but I don't think they cover why
No, they
that's
don't
so
cover the
important.
actual divine sacred power of it. And the reason why I feel and believe, being accountable for my own beliefs and feelings and long meditations for myself, is that I believe it's instilled with fear, guilt, and shame so that you don't utilize it appropriately and be awake and create beautiful things. It
And I think that's
destroys
powerful.
relationships, like
I
the
think,
shame about the female body, the shame about sexuality, the shame about being sexual with your spouse.
yeah.
Women, I have heard so often, will shut down and not even hardly be able to relate except for missionary style with their husbands. And then there's so much shame and guilt around the body that it ends up putting a huge wedge into their relationship. And
Gosh.
I had
That's a
sexual
really good
trauma.
way of explaining it, because honestly, when I came from New England, so a lot of people don't know about how the church really is out here, and this explains a lot.
It shuts down your creative power.
It sure
It
does.
shuts it off
That's
so that the mind can then be, the consciousness is then controlled. If any power that's destructive, and I say that, with any
yeah,
power that's trying to control people, okay?
yep.
Any power that is trying to control people, if they can take your most powerful energy and confuse you about it and put
And
low
think,
vibrational energies in your center and creative power of the law of attraction, which is your
mhm,
thoughts, feelings, your words, then that keeps people asleep in those belief systems,
yep.
and it shuts their minds and bodies down so that they can't even function appropriately.
Or they
Because
can't think for themselves. And that's the
no,
thing that I feel like in all of society now, people are just doing what they're told. Oh, it's just the way it is. Oh, it's no. I mean, I
no,
love
it's
that.
not
And
the way it is.
I
You
know
can,
you and I know that, but I'm talking the general public that are kind of still asleep, so to speak, that think, and I say this with an open heart, a lot of the people that think that this type of talk is just crazy talk, actually, I do feel that in due time, they're going to wake up and realize that people such as yourself that have awakened, and people that are just keep asking questions and questions and questions, are the ones that didn't turn into sheeple. Like, we were on a mission to explore. This is the game of life, let's get some questions
we
instead of being
we are
told what to
here to
do.
gain, to have our perfect path in having experiences of
Yeah.
all kinds, however, whatever we chose. Before we came into this body, we determined that we wanted to make choices and have experiences and learn the levels of emotional vibration to gain wisdom and understanding. How else can we love purely, expand our love, expand our wisdom, but have
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
experiences? And, there's so much shame too around having experiences. And of course, the lower vibrational experiences can be harmful to ourselves because they're not life-giving, they're life-taking. And how else do
Yeah.
we learn that it's life-taking until we
It's so
visit
great.
that experience of
I,
death? Spiritual, like the lowering the vibration in the body so that it feels disgusting and like death, to
yeah.
where I
Dark
don't
night of
like,
the soul.
right? I don't like this and I want this to be different. I now feel what that feels like. I can see the contrast of what's life giving and what's life taking. And I'm going to make some changes. And then I'm going to help other people that are going through the same thing I did to
Yeah.
find their way out.
That, I just want to interject here real quick. I feel like you would be a really great asset for a lot of kids nowadays because I feel like, just in a general sense, that society has gone bonkers. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in the 80s. We were all playing outside, and having fun with fresh
Yes.
air. And it just
Nature,
breaks
fresh
my
air.
heart. Yes, and it breaks my heart when I see all of these kids
It's
and
because
they don't even go
the
to school.
minds are
They
being
don't even
infiltrated.
I know, and a lot of people do not like that term. And I found that in the beginning that that term sounds very harsh, but it's the truth. It's the
Yep.
truth. It's
Well, the
really deep,
media is
deep.
infiltrating laziness and directing
Correct.
minds instead of supporting us making choices for ourselves and creating things with our hands and our minds and our bodies and exercising and
Hence why they want
feeling
more
Mother Nature.
robots.
It's keeping us inside, away from Mother Nature, away from life giving movement and support and energy. And
Yep.
it's literally killing us slowly.
Yep. And what people don't really realize is, I feel like a lot of people have to go down the rabbit hole to kind of really let this resonate. But I mean, Mother Earth is just one ginormous battery. I mean, when
Yes.
I found this out, I almost peed my pants. I'm not even kidding you. That, and there's plenty of information out there. I just couldn't believe it. All of our shoes, they purposefully created plastic and all this junk
Yes.
so that we can't connect our electrical
Plastic
current
and
with
rubber.
Mother. Yes, I at first when I heard that, I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense. But once you start doing the research, wow. I mean,
Yep.
I was very, very impressed. One of my best friend's daughters came out to visit me a couple weeks ago from New Hampshire, and she came out to the Park City area. We went to the No Name and all that, and just hanging out, and it was just so refreshing that she hasn't fallen to all this fake vanity. I mean, she's out rock climbing and doing hot springs, and she's
I
traveling and
love
she's
it.
living and she's doing it because she knows that in due time she's gonna, have a fam. So she's getting this all in and budgeting her time.
Good.
But I was just blown away when we were on this subject. Her and her boyfriend, early 20s, both had grounding shoes.
Yep.
I'm like, this
Yep.
is so refreshing. They get it. And that's why they're so healthy.
I even just talked to my client yesterday about grounding shoes. Like, they're
This is
important.
crazy. I got to find a good brand though, because I know they're a little bit more expensive. But hey, when you look at it, they charge
In
people
the
for the
long
brand.
run,
They
it's
charge.
better than going to the medical field hundreds of thousands of dollars later in insurance and
Yeah.
co-pays and
It actually, yes, it actually stimulates your body and makes your everything to work that much more fluidly. But I just had to interject and say that because it was quite refreshing. And I think there's a lot of young women that are caught in the vanity and I want to look the same and be the same. And then there's the
yeah.
other half of these girls like, no, I own it. And I'm telling you, those are the ones that I'm finding that are the true leaders that, it's just like in your entertainment and your movies where they just are like, I don't care what anyone thinks because I'm
Uh-huh.
not playing that game. I love that.
It's like take care. The biggest thing is what is your intention as to why you take care of your body, your vehicle? Do you
Yep.
take care of it to for a payoff to get what you want from the opposite sex, or do you take care of it, any kind of a payoff, or do you take care of it because it's your vehicle for this life and you
Yeah.
want to take as good a care of it as you possibly can so it works
Yeah.
well for you for your entire existence of time in which you are in this
Yeah.
body. So it's
Yeah.
like, what is your intention? And can you clean up your intention with your body?
Yep. That's beautiful how you put it. And I just love that you recognized at such an early age. Do you feel that you were just overwhelmed with not only that, but your regular school? And I mean, it sounds like you were outside and had fun and all, but did you also
Oh, I played
feel,
outside every day, all
wasn't
day.
it the best? And your mom be yelling to you, it's time to
Yep.
get your tea. I remember playing in the rain and not, these
Yep.
kids nowadays, I feel like they've just been brainwashed by all the entertainment that you watch that, I
Yeah.
mean, I really,
I
really,
really loathe TV. I
oh,
just
me
need to
too.
tell you that. Like
Oh, I do
the
too.
media and the TV and the movies messes with your creative consciousness. So then we start creating crap in our lives instead of beautiful things because of what's being presented in our
I
movies and in the media.
I could not agree with you more. However, I do want to encourage you to look into numerology
Yes.
and gematria because I do a lot of decoding on entertainment and
I like the
basically.
positive stuff.
Oh yeah, but here's the thing. People will find duality. See, people if
Yes.
they get what's happening in this world, they can listen between the lines. And literally
Uh-huh.
they create these stories that don't make any sense to any of us, but it actually connects to the big picture. And that's where they start the
Yes.
brainwashing with the fake laughing and the TV sitcoms where they say something, if you rewind it, what they just said is actually disturbing, but they just
Uh-huh.
brainwashed you by going ding,
Yes.
and going ha 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 ha. And when I start mentioning that to people, they start, and then I encourage them. I want to encourage you, just mute your commercials if you're going to watch TV because they're telling you you're fat, you're ugly, you've got pimples, zits, you need a boob job, you need,
Yeah.
you're in debt, it's a home for mom. I can't say that enough. And literally,
Oh,
there's nothing
it's
good out
never
of it.
enough, right? It's some illusionary image that
Mm-hmm.
it's never enough. And so people, they distract people so they can once again be controlled some more to
And you're
not live their
labeled.
highest path and
Yes.
purpose.
And they're labeling you with this quote unquote supposed differentness than everyone and that you want to fix it. And don't get me wrong, certain health things and this and that, but I was just
Yeah.
having this discussion with one of the other women on my interview where, I really hope that people are paying attention because you listen to these commercials, half the commercials now are literal pills that they want to push down your throat, but they're saying it's gonna, here are I mean, they've got this long list and you're willing to sacrifice those risks of having aneurysms and heart attacks and this and that by just, does that resonate with you? I mean, for me, I'm just,
Well,
people
I
are starting to
feel,
awaken to that where it's just,
yeah,
it's actually creepy. Like you can't do anything without your doctor's consult. They already make you fearful
it,
that if you're going to try something natural, it's
well,
scary.
belief is the cure for everything is outside of you. All your things and
Oh yeah.
experiences outside. Well, guess what? If, if we're all the spirit of highest love intelligence, then guess what? If your inner energy, your belief systems, your thoughts, your feelings, and your words, you are the creator of your life.
Yep.
Everything you experience started within you. And guess what? You can uncreate and recreate anything.
I love you just said that because I feel that so much of society now, they just have given up on everything. They don't have a lot
Well,
of passion or they don't have a lot of
they need to
hobbies
reclaim
and
their
this.
power.
That's what I'm saying. You said it perfectly because I think once people start awakening to realize that
They're
everything out there,
creators.
there's so much stuff that we've been lied to about. You just listen to within because it was in you all along. And that's why they always talk about that stuff in your entertainment. But yet, a lot of duality, there's bad and there's good in it, where there's certain, if people do their research, there's a lot of information on the music labels. A lot of the Rothschild people own the music labels, and a lot of the Rothschilds are not good people. And that's a way that they kind of brainwash people. It's a whole thing, but I just love how you put it because I think people have given up hope and they're just being steered in this direction
Well,
by other people
they need to
instead of
come see
listening
me
to themselves, right?
because that's what I do. I teach people to reclaim their consciousness and how to transform their beliefs from limiting to liberating and to change their experience in their body and in their
Yeah.
life. I
Because
teach them the how.
this life can be fun if people are open to opening the gateway, to opening up
You,
their mind,
yep.
And you can have fun with this life. And I am seeing so many people over decades, they just don't seem to be having that inner child fun anymore. And
Oh, that's so important to have that
it
inner child
is.
fun.
That's where I get my
We
goofiness with
we need to
from.
play so that we can create beautiful things. If we're
I
walking around
agree.
serious and miserable, we're not creating beautiful things. That energy
Yep.
is creating more sad things,
I agree. Now, listen,
more
real quick,
angry things or whatever.
back to the Mormon Church. So, what was the pivotal moment that you were just like, okay, things just don't seem right. I got to get out of here. Like, how did you exit? What happened? If you can get into that, I'd love to hear that.
Yes. So I would say I had a sexual trauma come up from when I was a teenager, experiencing a deep sexual trauma when I was 17. And it came up when I was probably about 34 years old.
Hmm.
And the answers were not coming from the church. And it was so intense. And so we did everything we could to try to figure out how to help me.
Mhm.
My relationship with my husband was, we were doing our best to work it out and to figure out how to help me. And it ended up that some of the things that we had done our best to try to help me caused me to see that I needed experiences in life that were more than I could experience inside the marital experience. So,
Could you
gosh,
expand on
we
it a little
so
bit more?
so
Just so I have an
it
understanding.
I started to get extremely aware of the thought, emotion, energy of the people I was going to church with, because I was doing energy alignment work, and it started to feel so uncomfortable because my consciousness was ascending.
Yes,
And
and
I
that
was
is a
going to
real thing.
church, and I
That
was
is a real
coming
thing.
home noticing that I would feel all this shame, fear, and guilt. And I was noticing it so much that it started to make me cringe to go to school or church.
Can
And
I ask you real quick, do they frown upon that you were doing this type of energy work and so forth? The church, I mean. Or
so
did
I talked a little bit about it. It wasn't really very accepted. It was kind of looked at as um
can't stand that woohoo term. We got to change
yeah,
that.
yeah, the woo
It's
woo
just
is kind
it's
of
annoying.
looked at like, that she's kind of an outsider, and we're a little bit afraid of what she does because
Yeah, she might
women
actually wake people up, awaken people
women
up, right?
women can't, women don't have the ability to help people create their healing. Like, women are just, under men, and they need to follow the man. They need to go through the man to get to God. And I started noticing that I'm like,
No.
I had been witnessing miracles as a vessel of healing and a guide for healing since 2005. And the whole power of God and priesthood thing was really itching under my skin for so long. Going to church, feeling the lower vibration of emotions, coming home feeling
That's
miserable.
actually a very good point. And I could see that being very real because when you are awakened, so to speak, and and you're searching for those answers and you're getting them, and you go into a place where everyone's feeling the same, like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, I'm not supposed to do
Yeah.
that. Oh, don't do this. Like that is pure stress. So I
Being
can
awakened,
imagine.
it was hard. It started to
It is.
feel
It
like
is.
fingernails on a chalkboard. And I have a lot of love for those people I attended church with, and I
Yeah.
served and I taught, and I did my best to teach the teachings of pure light, love, and truth, and
Hmm.
as to what I felt in my heart was best. And um, toward the end, I had had some experiences that clearly showed me that something
You
was
are right.
about to
All it.
change,
Mm-hmm.
something big. And I was also taking many courses. I was traveling to different states for energy healing courses and advanced courses. And I knew that there was a particular time when I was about to travel to Colorado for an energy healing course, um, that something big was about to change. And I
Mm-hmm.
went out there. When I walked into that room of all these vessels for healing, I felt such an immense amount of pure, safe love. It
I
felt so,
love
it
it.
felt so comforting and nourishing and supportive. And I hadn't even spoken to any of them. I just walked into the room and felt this.
And
And I'm
it's
like,
very real. And can
it
I
was
say,
so different from what I felt when I would walk into church and just, the presentation, because I can hear thoughts and feelings. That's one
yep,
of my gifts, is I can hear that. And what I was hearing was support, compassion,
yeah,
help,
no
comfort,
judgment. And then,
zero judgment, and
Soleil, can I say one thing
acceptance.
really quick on that? What I get excited about, and I don't know about you, but I think about anyone of any age, but I love to think about the youth and so forth. Doesn't it sound more exciting to learn this kind of stuff that you're talking about than sitting in a classroom and just doing numbers and learning how to do things their way for corporate America? Like, I just think it's beautiful. If I were a kid all over again, everything happens for a reason, but I would have been more into that and wanting to learn about that sort of thing instead of your typical university, here's all this money and be happy for working for, like, it I just think it's so beautiful that people such as yourself, you have such a gift and you're sharing it. But the thing that was taken away from people that do what you do is that you're constantly heard that it's not real, but it's actually very real. And when people start going down the rabbit hole and really start questioning and looking at all the research, it's all scientifically based. They just didn't want you to think that. I mean, they show it in, that's part of your movies and entertainment. They're literally showing you that people have the power, but they're rubbing it off as entertainment.
Yep.
And that's something that I feel it, and I know that you feel it for sure, that the shift is happening. The shift
Your
is.
thoughts and your words are your power. You are the captain of your ship. You are the creator of your experience. You can,
Mhm.
if you understand the how, you can uncreate any disharmony in the body or life, and you can recreate it into something magical and beautiful.
I
And so
agree.
I'm just gonna finish how I left religion. It was
Yeah.
actually, I jumped off a cliff and just like, it was very fast. So I was very devout. My connection to God was through religion
Mhm.
at that time, very religious. So I go to this class, I feel the sensation of pure love. I sit down, this beautiful woman, I call her one of my earth angels. There are many earth angels in my life, and she's one of them. She was very peaceful, very quiet. Her energy was very beautiful. And we hadn't said anything to each other because I noticed she didn't really have anything to say. She was just very peaceful.
Mhm.
And we began to talk during the lunch break. And I asked her if she would go to lunch with me. And so we did. And I talked about my path of experiences leading up to this point. And
Mhm.
she asked me a question that is a pivotal question. She said, "Now, didn't you choose to have these experiences so you could question and understand that maybe it's time for you to start expanding out of religion, question the religion if it's right for you anymore?" And I
That's a
had
very
this
good question.
flood. I had a flood of light, love, energy just like pour through
Twinkle.
my body.
I
You know
bet.
that that
Yes.
feeling you get when something is just the
Off the
most
charts.
beautiful yes that you have ever heard. And the answer, I could finally question it when the waterfall of love came through my body, the yes came through my body,
That was
and
it.
the ding went on, and I said, "Oh my goodness, I feel that is so true and correct for me."
Did it
And
validate? Did it validate that feeling of that you were just tired of feeling told what to do and all these other, like, did it validate
I
that
wanted
you
to
didn't
reclaim
like
my
that
power.
feeling? Exactly.
I wanted
That's
to
what I
reclaim
want to.
it, and that was my
Yeah.
opportunity. And I had finally been given the understanding and the ability, because of that pure love I felt in that class. I was
Yeah.
open to yes, I was open to change, and there
Yeah.
was no fear, guilt, or shame in that class. I was just energetically open, and the waterfall of love that came through my body was the most powerful, loving feeling I had felt in life yet. And I had had many beautiful experiences, but that was powerful.
I love
And so
it.
then after I went home that night after class, I began a 24-hour conversation with God. I mean, I always talk with God
Yep.
and infinite intelligence throughout the
Yep.
day,
Mm-hmm.
that connection. This was a personal conversation, and I said, this is a big deal. I have sought you through religion my entire life. Every cell in my body believes that that's the only way to uh, work with you and be with you and create with you. And so if you really want me, like if infinite intelligence really wants me to step out of religion, please show me why. I need
Mm-hmm.
a legit reason that makes sense to me as to
Mm-hmm.
why. And so at that time, I had studied the scriptures so thoroughly, and there are many truths that are so beautiful in there. And there's some
Oh
things
yeah.
that don't sit right with me in the Bible and
Mm-hmm.
the Book of Mormon, but there are also many universal laws that sit very well with me. So I was directed toward the scriptures because I studied them every day. I studied the Book of Mormon and the Bible every day for like an hour in the morning, and I wanted to feel truth. So I was directed toward the Book of Mormon, and I opened that book. So I felt
Oh,
spiritually guided. So I
here
opened the
it
book to
comes. I can feel it. Yep.
the page that showed me why I was being directed out. And I was shown the story of King Noah. So King Noah was the highest priest, and then he had all his priests below him, or all his leaders. He's priesthood leaders below him. And what the story is about is how King Noah was a very corrupt king and very corrupt religious leader, because it turned into power hungry, me, look at us, I'm the only
Mm.
right one, I'm the best, follow me, pay me.
Wow.
And
I
this
see
is the
exactly what
story that
you're.
I was shown, that the leaders, and there are things happening behind the scenes in the church that are destructive and corrupt, and um, leading people astray through their consciousness without
Yep.
them even realizing it. And they're connected to big things and the big power, big money schemes. And I was shown, this is where your church is going. This is where the leadership is going. And you need to leave now. You
Good
need to
for
go.
you.
And
That is
I
crazy good.
asked,
That just validated everything you were
it
asking.
it was the time I took off the religious underwear, and I said, is this necessary anymore? And Spirit of Truth said, no, this is not necessary. Your consciousness protects your body. Your alignment with love protects your body. That's an article of clothing. You don't need that to protect yourself. You need positive thoughts, emotions, words, and actions to protect yourself.
Yes.
So I took it off. I
That's
felt my
awesome.
sexual energy was liberated after I took that off.
How's your
And
husband feel about that?
he was very baffled, because I called him that night. He had no idea what I had just experienced with in conversation with God that day. I
Uh-huh.
called him that night and I said, hey, I want you to know I am now currently out of religion. I'm done. And
How
this
did
was when
he
I was
react to
36
that?
years old. Okay. I
How did he
just was
react?
done. I
Yep.
went from devout to done.
What did he
And
say?
he was
Stop
speechless.
leading
He's
me
like,
on.
what? He's like, are you kidding me? I said, nope, I'm done. And I
And
said,
what
I'm going
did
to come
he
home. I'm going to
say?
get off my flight, and I'm going to be a different woman. I'm going to be without those undies. I'm going to be free. I'm going to be who I authentically am. And I need you to be ready for that. And so I came home to that, and he said, you look so free. You look so bright. You look so lifted. Your aura has changed.
Wow.
Like
I'm so happy that it
he
actually was.
congratulated me. And I mean, he had some fear with it, but 2 weeks
Yeah,
later,
but
he stepped out as well, and we were both done.
wow.
So,
Congratulations. And you just seem like you're just so grounded, happy. You can think for yourself and you just have this spiritual journey in you. And
oh,
I
I
think
can't
that's
even tell you.
amazing.
Full. It's been full of contrast with how I have had an experience with people after I left religion. My
How did
goodness,
that go? How did
that's
that
a
go?
whole story in and of itself. I've been able to heal it and forgive and accept it and honor it for what it is and where people are at.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a quiet shunning and like a
Yes.
funeral for you when you leave. Like you're considered a heathen, you're considered that you followed the devil, you're considered that you
So
no longer have
wrong.
spiritual gifts. Like I had people left and
Mhm.
right, like leaving my life.
I'm so
And
sorry.
respectfully, I'm going to say that my parents didn't know what to do with me. It's almost like they grieved a death, and they didn't know what to say or do with me because they couldn't reconvert me to their church. And I kept telling me, let's just communicate through pure love. Let's communicate through pure love. Let's relate with each other in ways that feel authentic and loving and genuine and real.
Yeah, like the
And
way
they
it's
couldn't.
supposed to be that we're always told it should be, but
And so
yeah.
they tried really diligently and sometimes desperately to reconvert me, and I respect them for that. They were just doing their best to love me.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
there was a time where I almost felt like sometimes, and I don't know this for sure, but I felt into possibly that sometimes the belief is that let's leave her alone long enough in her pain and misery so that she'll
She'll
come
come back.
crawling back and repent to the men of the church, confess her sins, and get baptized again and re-engage in the church. So there was a lot of time in which I suffered alone, and I can only
It's hard.
speculate. I cannot speak for my parents. That is not okay. But
Yeah.
there was a lot of time where I suffered in big things alone. I did not have the proper support that I needed. And so big pivotal moment also in my life is I was divorced in 20 like right around 2018 to 2019 was when that took place, beginning of 2019. And then I was in a traumatic car accident right after the divorce finalized.
Oh
So
no.
I wasn't buckled, and a woman turned left in front of me, like 20 feet in front of me, no time to react. I smashed the front end of her car going about 50 miles an hour. And I saw my life flash before my eyes in that moment. And I basically in my inner consciousness said, God help me. And so I thought I saw myself flying out the windshield in my mind's eye, but then when I said that, I stated that inside my mind. When I hit her, I actually flew diagonally up in my car because I was in a big vehicle and she was in a small vehicle. So it projected me diagonally. And I
Mhm.
hit my head at the top on the ceiling near the windshield, and my body accordioned in my head and back down. And then I hit somebody traveling in the right lane when my body careened off of, or my car careened off of her car. Then somebody
Oh
passing in
my
the right lane, I hit
gosh.
him. And that was the accident. And when it
I'm
all
so
settled,
sorry.
here's the miracle. I felt
Yeah.
like a divine force held me inside my car. I had angels with me. I observed my body. I slammed my knees and my fists, like my knees hit my dashboard, my fists hit my windshield, my head hit the
Mhm.
ceiling. I was observing my body. I was not knocked unconscious. How is that? I did not go
That's
unconscious. So
wow.
I could rehearse the whole accident
Oh,
um
I'm a firm believer.
verbatim.
Yep.
And I also as after the accident settled, I was observing my body. I
Mhm.
looked at my hands. I looked at my knees and my legs where I should have been broken. I should have had broken bones in my arms, my hands, my legs. And
Wow.
I'm sitting here in awe and gratitude. Like my body, I didn't even have an open wound. I was scalped a little bit right here, but it was so
Wow.
small. I didn't have an open cut, an open wound.
That
My
is a
bones weren't
miracle.
broken.
That's a
And
miracle in itself.
the only thing so there were two things that I had to work on healing. This was all for my benefit of helping others know how to heal the brain and the
Mhm.
spine. So I
Mhm.
had spinal trauma to my cervical and my lumbar, and I had
Mm.
brain trauma.
Mm.
And nobody will understand the side effects of that unless they've been through it. It
I have a
was
couple friends, yeah, that
confusing and scary as fuck. And I'm going to use
it's
that
like
word right now.
menopause too, right? Jeez.
I have to use that word right now. It was very
Yeah.
confusing, scary as fuck, and my vision was double. My balance, I couldn't walk without losing my balance and feeling like I was gonna fall. I couldn't
Oh,
speak clearly. I couldn't connect my thoughts from one sentence to the next. I couldn't resolve the car accident. in any way. I had to hire a lawyer because I couldn't think straight. I would sit in
So
my
sorry.
bedroom for days confused. I couldn't eat because my body had slammed into my car so badly that every time I ate, I would throw up.
Ugh.
I had a gallbladder attack 4 to 5 days in, and because there was nobody there at my house helping me, I had no help. I did have help from people I would call in to drive me to my doctor's appointments. That is the help that I have. As far as consistent care, I did not have help.
Oh
And
gosh, girl. What
so
about
I
your parents?
actually,
Were your parents around the area
no,
or?
they came to visit me like 4 or 5 days after the accident happened.
Oh,
I came home the night of the accident. I was dropped off at my house and I was fucking alone.
I'm so sorry.
So, but here's the beautiful gift of it. So there's the emotion, right? I'm doing my
Yeah.
best to continue to heal that emotion. I sat in my bed in my room. I couldn't sleep because I was in pain. My head and my spine hurt so much. But I noticed that heavenly angels of just infinite light and love were my room was full of them.
Oh,
I
I
was
believe
not
it. Yep.
actually alone. I was humanly alone, but I was not spiritually alone. I had so many angels with me speaking peace to my entire body, my mind, and my heart that all I could do was praise God in that moment.
And you didn't
So,
need your church either. You were
no.
having that moment. I think
And
that's a good
the
way to.
humans, they didn't know what to do. They didn't know how serious it was. They they did leave me alone, and I should have had proper care. People still don't understand how that affected me because my mind is strong as fuck. Like
I can see, and I'm really proud of you. And
I
you know
have
what, though?
healed with God so many times in my
Excuse
life
me.
that the fight is to heal, and the diligence of uh, directing the consciousness toward wholeness after an
Yeah.
experience that is so hard and challenging and dark
Yeah.
it's happened so often to me that I know how to help people out of that pit.
Yeah.
I've been in it.
You've been this far and you've done all of this to this point. The rest is going to be smooth sailing. And your story reminds me, this past summer, I think it was, it was Angel Studios had a movie they released. I should know the name of it, but I was intrigued by it because it was exactly what you were talking about, people having near-death experiences and so forth. And I think it's time for the masses to really embrace what their messages are trying, their movies are trying to share with people. And they're sharing truth
Yes.
and they're using it as entertainment. And that just reminded me of your story too. And I look at you. I mean, one thing that I'm finding with a lot of people in their great awakening story is everyone hits rock bottom. They hit it, they hit it. They're so alone. They don't have family, friends,
Guess what? There's
neighbors.
support. I
Oh,
want
there.
people to know right now in this recording that if you need that support, please let me know. I help people, I guide them through the
Yeah,
exit of religion so that they can have an easeful, graceful experience to reclaiming their creative power and who they truly are, walking their personal
yeah.
path with respect and honor.
And
And
not to
so
think that it's all make believe. It's actually very, very,
it's
very,
very
very
real.
real. It's very real. And I think it's really hard for people to wrap their head around it because they've been sitting in that cesspool of yuck for so long and that feeling of just like, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not pretty enough, and all of those things. And
Those are beliefs that can be changed.
exactly. And one thing that I
Yep.
wanted to mention before I let you go here is thank you for sharing that because I can't imagine, but what I'm recognizing and I can sense definitely with you, and my light is really bright because and I don't like that. So, but so many people that I'm interviewing, really, they've hit that rock bottom. But I think what they're recognizing, as well as you, I can just already feel it, is you recognize now you needed to go through all that horrible shit for
Yep.
so long because literally This is it. We are in the Great Awakening that every
Yeah.
esoteric religion has talked about. People can deny it all they want. They can call people like us and so forth crazy. But the crazy part is not to be open to being open, that the signs are literally in your face everywhere. And you can do your research to see that we are. And it's
Hmm.
happening, girlfriend. Like I
It
feel
is.
it,
And
you can feel it. And I want to just encourage people that are interested in, quantum healing and
yes,
reflexology and all of these, your businesses are going to end up flourishing like unbelievable, because the truth is coming out. The truth is coming out about big
we are
pharma,
here.
big
We are
government,
here to
big
offer
church.
healing and help and guidance and support. And
Yes.
if
Yes.
if people need help, I want to make it very clear that there is help. Reach
Yeah.
out. It's time. And you
Yeah.
can let go of the egos that limit you and hurt you and cause
Yeah.
you physical, mental, emotional pain in your
Yeah.
body and in your
Just to be
life.
free, just to feel light
You
as a
can be
feather,
free.
finally, to
You
be
can
light as a
create freedom.
feather. And I want to say one thing. You had just said something that something had resonated is, when people are embracing the thought of reaching out to someone like you, and I'm just saying with my own experience, I think that there's just so much of that woohoo label. The woohoo's going away.
Yeah.
People such as Soleil here is, they're not looking to convert you to anything. They're only
No.
helping you and guiding you on steps to get to that same
Yes.
peaceful, enlightened, like there really was never anything wrong with me to begin with type of feeling.
Exactly.
It's like that movie, was it the Jesus Revolution and all that? I think they did a wonderful job at that, because they
Yeah.
spun it. They spun it on not being so corporate-y, and it was more about just accepting each other as you are. And I'm not going to judge you anymore, and you're not going to judge me, and I'm going to accept you for who you are, because I don't know your battles and so forth. And that's how this is all work. I mean, I'm seeing people awakening left and right, and they
Yeah.
really are they're starting to take this serious on the spiritual side of things, because they're
Yeah.
tired. They're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you're not ready to
Exactly.
convert them again. People such,
There's not a conversion to
but they
anything.
have they
It's
have that brainwashed in their head.
it's actually step into
Ex-
reclaim your power and step into living your perfect life path and your
Yep,
perfect expression for
you
you,
just said
your
it.
authentic expression.
I
Uh,
love it. You just, so please, Soleil, I call you Soleil, and we have a different name up on the screen. I'm getting ready to wrap it up here, and I want to say thank you so much for sharing all of your Great Awakening story, because there's more to come. If you know anyone that wants to share their experience, please have them reach out to me, because I'm uploading all of these, and I'm doing it because I just want people to feel like there's nothing wrong with them. Whatever their awakening is,
yes.
there's nothing. That is the first step into claiming your own mind back.
And
And
that you have support.
yes. So
You
where
have
can
support.
people find you? Where can they find you?
So
On social media?
So I don't do a ton of stuff on social media because I feel like the energy of connection and word of mouth is more powerful for me.
I
So
agree. I
they
agree.
can find me. You can text me at 801-916-6253 and just let me know that you're looking for support and guidance in your own personal great awakening to your higher consciousness, your higher path and
Yeah.
expression.
And there's no
And
judgment, and
no judgment. Your
there's
path
no,
is your path.
yep. Yep. You're not here to steer. You're here to just pull it out of them and help
Yep.
pull it out of
Help
them,
them
because
stand in it and align with it.
I love it.
That's basically what we do is guide people to stand in their personal power and align with their higher miraculous way of expressing themselves and creating and manifesting in their lives. If they want to
It's so
create better health, wealth, love, and their perfect life expression, that's what we guide people to do.
Yes, I love that. I am so blessed. I'm so glad that you made it through your accident. That, as much as it's painful to say now, in a way, it's good that it all happened to you. And I think that that's what people are really, really starting to connect with, that, you know, things like we already talked about, you know, I thought my life was really, really shitty, but, you know, people are starting to realize, no, I was supposed to learn those shitty.
Yep.
I needed to save
You
myself.
needed the
I
experiences.
didn't need a corporate church to save me. I needed to save
Yep.
myself. And I think that
Yep.
speaks volumes. So thank you so much. And I just want to wrap it up here for the show here, guys. If you know anyone that wants to share their great awakening story, whether it's political, waking up to what's happening in the world, either side, doesn't matter to me. You know, seeing things, feeling things, you know, leaving a church, whatever it is, I feel the more that people share these stories, the more people are going to start coming out. They're going to start recognizing things that we just talked about. And you're going to feel so much better that you really aren't alone. And just because you were labeled at some point in your life that you're alone, you're really not alone. So I'd like to leave
Exactly.
it on that. Did you like that?
Yes, that's so
All
beautiful.
right, girlfriend. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please share, subscribe to the Sharon the Red Baron show. And in due time, there are going to be some people that are going to wreck it. So I'm from New England. There's going to be plenty of people from New England. This is going to be a perfect example. A lot of people are going to think that, oh, you know, they're a doctor and a lawyer and they do this and that. Enough of the labels of what you do for work. That stuff is gone. But I think it's going to be surprising that people are going to see people that they had no idea that was spiritually enlightened. And that's
Yeah.
what I want to bring to everyone. All right. Well, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much,
Thank you
girlfriend.
so much.
Thank you. And you have a good night. We'll talk
You
soon.
too. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.